Hey everybody, today I'm going to work on my two Shohin bald cypress. And the story of these two trees is that in the fall of 2023 I collected a bunch of bald cypress cones, and then I stored them and cured them a couple different ways. Some seed I just planted directly and I got decent germination. And then others I put into just a paper bag, loose in a paper bag in the fridge for about a month. So I collected them between November, December, and I planted them about the end of January. And those germinated beautifully. And then I also, after reading online, put some in water. I soaked them so they were totally submerged in water. Unfortunately, I totally forgot about those. And so by the time I realized that they were stuck in the back of the fridge and I had totally forgot about them, turns out that of all the ones that I planted from that batch, these two were the only two that germinated. And they germinated in a really big germination tray. So I thought, well, I'll just plant something else. Let these two little babies grow, but plant something else in the space, because it was just a waste of space to have these two tiny little seedlings in a huge germination bed. And honestly, I forget what I planted. But after planting those new seed, wherever they were, the squirrels decided to start digging up the soil. And the squirrels can be pretty destructive, especially with a new seed bed like that. So I put chicken wire over the top of the seed bed to keep the squirrels from getting in there. But because bald cypress grow so quickly, once they hit the chicken wire, they started to get deformed. So they were no longer nice and straight like almost every other seedling bald cypress that I have from that batch. So I thought, well, why not just play a little bit? So let's get them really funky, like this one here. I actually had this one wired down so it was more like that, and I probably will do that again shortly here. But they're just beginning to pop. And especially this guy here, you can see all along the trunk little tiny buds just all popping. Now I don't want any of these that are popping along the trunk. I want this tree to have, first main branch, second main branch, back branch, have that little curve in there. And I don't want the tree much taller than it actually is right now. And the same with this guy here. I fought the tree because it kept on wanting to sprout from here. As the energy is coming up, then it just wanted to sprout from here, and so I was constantly pinching those off, pinching those off, pinching those off. I was like, no, I want you to come over here. But the tree, the sap pass bald cypress seedlings, their whole lifestyle is getting as tall as they can, as quickly as they can. So I saved some of this stuff, and there's also a little tiny bit of green right there. So with this one here, I don't think there's really all that much to do. But I do want to repot them if they need it. And honestly, I haven't even looked to see if they do need it. So let's do that right now. See what kind of... Okay, you notice as I'm lifting up on the trunk that there's a lot of soil that's still pretty loose. And there's decent roots, but they're nowhere near root bound. So you know what? I think I'm just going to leave them. I wanted to get to the repotting if I was going to do it because the new growth was emerging. Bald cypress really need to have root prunes in the dead of winter so they can regrow in time. Okay, so this guy here is going to be about the same thing. Yeah, they could, let's see. This one's a whole lot more rooted. So I think I am going to root prune this guy. I'm going to put him right back in the same pot. And I totally forgot my root pruning tool, so I'll go get that. Okay. So here we go. The roots are very healthy, so I'm happy about that. I also want this thing to be pretty close to the same height that it was. And we have some of the old ambient soil in there. You can see that kind of black crud. That was the old seedbed soil. So there's some interesting rooteds. Rooteds? Okay. So I'm going to take this guy down, this guy down. And there's a very big root that comes from here and then it comes all the way down. And that's feeding almost all the rest of those circular roots. So taking it off is going to be fairly stressful for the tree. There's another one. And as is typical with a lot of trees, it grew right through the screen. But I think I can save the screen. Just yank it out of there. Come on, baby. Oops. Well, there goes the rest of the roots. And I definitely need a screen because there's a giant drainage hole in this pot. So the screen goes back in. Put the tree, and since it's a round pot, really doesn't matter. I've got my trusty non-fat yogurt container full of fresh soil. I want the roots to be just about the same depth. Gonna stick him into the center of the pot. And then do my high-tech soil technique, fingers. Okay, there we go. That was a little bit more drastic than I wanted. I wanted to take all this, but I also ended up taking a bunch that was attached to the screen. And so even though it has, I'm not quite sure where the front is, even though it has all these little tiny guys, and I don't want them for the design, I'm going to keep them now to give them a chance to pump energy back into the roots, new roots that are going to form. So then the rest of this tree, we're just going to give it a little bit of a trim. Nothing special. Something like that. Actually, I think I'm going to keep this as the leader and take that one off. So there we go. So one root pruned and one not. It'll be interesting to see what happens with this little guy since I didn't root prune it, to see how root bounding gets through the year. And it's really difficult to root prune them in the middle of the summer because don't respond well. This is the best time of year to do this. So there we go. And since bald cypress are a moisture-loving plant, this guy here that I did root prune is going to get water immediately, if not sooner. I have just a little tiny bit of soil left, so let's just use it up in there. So there we go. These guys are just kind of playing around. They're kind of fun. Like I said, they were restricted by the chicken wire. And so that's why they grew so funky compared to actually virtually every other bald cypress seedling I have, which are the same age as these, is perfectly straight up and down. So there we go. My two Shohin bald cypress, and they've been fun to play with. Last year, like I said, I fought this guy over and over and over and over because it just wanted to go that way. And I think as it matures and we get some more branching down here, it'll be less prone to doing that, but who knows. And I'll just keep fighting it. So there we go. So thanks for watching. Oh, we got our airplane going over. There's a very small executive airport right down the road from me. So there you go. So thanks for watching. And your bald cypress, depending on where you live on the planet, may be nowhere near sprouting because it's still winter, but virtually all of my bald cypress are beginning to sprout. So I want to root prune a bunch, and so that's going to be coming up in the next few days. So that's it for this video, for these two guys. I keep you posted on how they do, and like I said, I want to keep all these little buds that are popping along the trunk just to give the tree some strength. They will not be part of the finished design. I will probably take them off when they get to be about an inch and I see, good growth coming from the actual branches that I want to keep. Then I'll rub them off because I'll know that the tree is recovering from the root pruning. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.